What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Wright Ace Attorney video. I'm so sorry, Mr. Wright. I'm sorry for what my sister said. Yeah, if you don't know, she freaking forged... Basically, Zygon's with me again. Zygon's in this video, too. Lannis guy, who we're defending, has basically forged, like, evidence on previous court cases. To get someone, and like the person actually got guilty and got the death sentence.
Oh my gosh!
I know. Yeah. Yeah, she used Lana's like her sister, I guess. Wow. And then, cause he murdered. Okay, so from what I can understand. Lana Skye, who we're defending, she's charged with murder of, let me read these off. Lana Skye allegedly killed Bruce Goodman, who worked on the SL9 case, which is a case that she forged evidence for. And Jake Marshall is claiming that she did this, and so she confessed about it. And Joe Dark, is who I'm going to call him, apparently was a responsible person, but with this forged evidence, I think it could be that she just wanted to get him arrested because she thinks that she killed Officer Marshall's brother. Behind incriminating piece of evidence, but what did you have to do with those killings? On the night of the prosecution trial, Marshall was murdered. Joe Dark tried to kill me. What? He tried to kill you? Oh, Officer Marshall's brother, Neil, was only trying to save me. So that means you, yes. I was a witness in the Joe's Dark trial. I did not see that coming. It happened 2 years ago. It was right after, it was right about this time of the year, too. There was a terrible thunderstorm that day, unusual for the season. I was alone in my sister's office. We were planning to eat dinner. Once she was finished with her work. Then suddenly, this terrifying man came bursting into the office, Joe Dark. It seemed like he was running from someone. He pulled out a knife and screamed at me. I did not know what was going on. Just then, Prosecutor Marshall showed up, Jake Marshall's brother. Joe Dark tried to take me hostage. Before that, Marshall tackled them. Then, what happened? I'll never forget. Lightning struck, and the lights went out suddenly. A bolt of lightning flashed outside the window, lighting up the office for an instant. Then what I saw then burned a permanent memory in my mind. I can still see it now. Permanent picture. Don't remember the moment when Dark stabbed Mr. Marshall, so you weren't able to testify about that? No, I was asked about when I was attacked. That must be why she made up the crime. Made up? You mean provide bogus evidence? The prosecutor's office wanted that guilty verdict so bad. Lena forged the evidence and Mr. Edgeworth used it. Edgeworth? Yes, but I'm sure he didn't know anything about it. He could have known he would be giving false evidence. Even so, that's when it all started. The rumor started about Mr. Edgeworth. I mean, it's all my fault. If I could have just testified properly, now this would happen. It was true, even though he may not have known it, Edgeworth really was involved in falsifying evidence. After that case ended, Lana was never the same. She became cold, just like she is today. She must not be able to face up for what she did, especially not to Emma. What did you see in that instant that the crime occurred? Dark knocked down Mr. Marshall and raised his knife. Neil was stabbed right in front of this poor girl. I don't even remember what happened after that. Apparently I passed out. I then came back, when I came to, Lana was...
Hey, Hunter.
What?
Hey, Hunter.
What?
I'm gonna go ahead and get off of here, because I'm tired.
Alright, so Zygon just left a call He was getting off. Which is fine. I couldn't bring myself to testify about that incident. Tried, but the word just wouldn't come out. I drew a picture, but it wasn't really good. 2 years ago, you must have been 14 at the time. That's understandable. Once it was all over, I made up my mind. I dedicated that when I grew up, I'd become an investigator. I want to be able to fight crime with my testimonies and find the evidence to make an airtight case. That way, Lana would never have to forge it. See, I think I'm finally understanding too. I mean, I'm starting to understand what makes him a tick. But there's still something that bothers me about that crime. There's something that puzzling me, Emma. What is that? You said you were in Lana's office at the time, right? That's right. Why then would a serial killer come running in there? Not only that, but he was being chased by a prosecutor? Well, there's no mystery there. The Dark has been taken in for questioning that day. Taken in for questioning, you mean by the police? Of course, this happened at the police department. He tried to run away halfway through the interview and fled into my sister's office. But why did he run all the way over to your sister's office? Because the detective's office and the questioning room are across from the elevator. Lana was the chief prosecutor, wasn't she? No, silly, didn't I tell you 2 years ago Lana was a detective. She was the best in the entire force. What? That's news to me. After the Joe Dark case, she was transferred to the prosecution office and she made chief prosecutor. Lana used to be a detective? Better have a talk with her. Alright. Sup? Lana? Mr. Wright, it seems I keep causing you trouble. Falsifying evidence? I did not know you were the type. Criminals don't mind playing foul. Why should we? But Lana, if you're wrong and an innocent person might be found guilty. Believe me, I understand the risk. Emma told me something about you. Oh. About how you were a detective 2 years ago. And how incident was the reason for your transfer to the prosecution office. That's right. Could you fill me in on the details, especially about that unusual change of jobs? Suppose you have a right to know, Mr. Wright. Be right back. Ah, it's me in a new hat. I just got back from the shower. So I was gonna take one real quick. Alright. Today's my audio's delayed on my headphones. I hate it when it does that. Okay. The fact that this case is largely connected to another one 2 years ago. Evidence from that case was stolen as well. Though I expected as much. I know how obsessive Officer Marshall can be. That trial, it really wasn't fair, was it? I believe in you, Lana. I believe that no matter what happened, you always stick to the truth. Can it be helped, Lana? Emma. At that trial 2 years ago, I sold my soul. Well, all drama aside, the fact of the matter is, 5:15, there's no murder at the police department. Tell me it's not true, Lana. Was the witness, Miss Starr said, about you stabbing Mr. Goodman with a knife. Lana, I don't understand. Why won't you tell us? Emma? This doesn't just involve me. Yeah, I don't think it ever seen Lana look so phased. 2 years ago, I was second in command of the detective's investigation Dark. Second in command? That means that investigations led was Damon Graham, right? Yes, Deputy Chief Grant and I shared the same office and the same investigations. We even had the same office. We led a team of the best detectives on the force. Detective Goodman, whose case it was Jake Marshall and Angel Starr. It was the first time Marshall worked with his brother. He was quite hungo. Without a doubt, Joe Dark was the serial killer. We asked him to come into question. We were desperate for evidence. Then his final murder took place. When he tried to murder Emma Sky. Prosecutor Marshall was trying to save me from Dark. You see, the first person who happened upon the scene of the crime was me. Now you tell us. Tim and Grant and Neil Marshall were the ones questioning Drake that day. The investigation was in its final stage, and Dark must have suddenly panicked, so he waited until Gant and Marshall let their guards down, and he fled the room. There he ran straight to the office shared by Deputy Chief Grant and myself. That's where he found me. So, you were the first person in line to run to the scene. Appears so. Filling some papers while Grant and Marshall were questioning Dark. Then I returned to my office. I saw 3 bodies on the floor and smelled blood. 3 bodies? Prosecutor Marshall, the victim, Emma, who passed out, and the suspect, Joe Dark. During the struggle, it seems Marshall struck a final blow before he died. Joe Dark had incurred a minor concussion and laid unconscious. What did you do? To be honest, I panicked. Picked up Emma, carried her out of my room, carried her out of the room. He just head home. Can't blame her. After all, her sister must have gone through. After that, I placed Dark under immediate arrest. It's true. I was a member of the police force 2 years ago. She was amazing. They still talk about all the cases she and Grant went through. Chief Grant, yeah, we know this. Used to be everything inspired. They were the best team ever. They solved crime before the reports were even filled. Emma just eyes-blinding her big sister. But now you're chief prosecutor. What happened? I always planned on becoming a prosecutor. The whole reason why I became a detective was to gain experience investigating crime scenes so you could use that experience in court, right? Grant's help in the SL9 case was crucial to its resolution. After that, he became a chief of police and arranged my transfer to the prosecutor office. Maybe I should ask more about the investigation other 2 years ago. Let's get this straight. You were all involved in the SL9 incident. That's right, quite a coincidence, I don't buy it. What are you saying? There's no way everyone involved in this trial was also involved in the incident. Just by chance? But the cases were solved 2 years ago. At least one person went to extremes because they didn't believe it was truly solved. Marshall. Yes, his actions came as a surprise to me as well. Ever since his brother died, he changed completely. Guess he wasn't convinced with the ruling against Joe Drake. Life doesn't end with the closing of a case. Everyone has to live under the rest of their lives with their memories. That case just might not be over just yet. Emma was assaulted by Drake by the police department, right? Yes, in the office that Damon Grant and I shared. The office that Mr. Grant now occupies by himself, the chief office. Maybe we should have a look at the chief's office, the site of the murder. Don't see the gumshoe anywhere. He must have been quiet around here. You're right. Why don't we go look for other people to talk to? Right, we can come back here later. Howdy, Bambuna. Oh, Mr. Marshall. Never thought things turned out this way when I woke up this morning. Quite serious, you know, where life leads you. And Bambuna? I should know my luck had run out when old Billy dried up this morning. Billy must be his pet cactus. Say, where are you headed? Just over to the prosecution office for a little investigation. It's a voluntary appearance, but we all know I won't be coming back. Sorry, but you can't go into the evidence room today, partner. But Mr. Marshall, why did you do it? Why do prosecutors head west? If ever there was a case I needed to know the truth about, it's this one. Before you turn yourself in, Marshall, would you mind telling us what exactly happened? Looks like I won't be getting won't be getting a steak lunch today. Something was fishy about that trial from the beginning. It wasn't just me either. All the detectives thought though. What do you mean fishy? Some of the facts reported were inconsistent with the evidence we found. For example, the murder weapon. The murder weapon, you mean that switchblade with the broken tip? That was Joe Drake's, alright. Jared Dark's, alright. But in the initial autopsy report, a question was raised. Question? The blade of the knife was not a perfect match with the wound the victim sustained. What does that mean? It means there is a chance that the knife was not the murder weapon. However, in the report that was finally submitted that possibly had been erased, that case left behind scars on all of us. Scars that the SL9 left behind? I got the looks, but he got the brains. He was one of the best prosecutors around. I was just made detective when it went down. It was our first case together. How old was your brother? He was 27 at the time. He was awarded the highest honor that very day. The highest honor, man. King of prosecutors. I knew it. What are you looking at me like that for? That's an honor for a prosecutor. Mr. Marshall must have really been close with his brother. The day the SL9 incident took place, that wasn't the same day as... That's right, it was the day of the racial travesty. And it was interesting. It was drizzling that morning, and by nightfall there was thunder. I can't believe 2 years has gone by already. Try to steal the evidence of the case won't die. Apparently someone tried to stop you. Gumshoe was murdered, and the evidence locker was empty. There was something going on behind the scenes in that case. We all knew that later. Every detective involved in that investigation, save one, was taken care of. The star was fired, and I was demoted and boxed away in a tiny room. What about Goodman? They did something to him, too. The commissioners would get suspicious. No, they were careful enough not to be too obvious. Hey, what are you talking about? Don't get upset, Bambino. I mean, Damon Gant and Atlanta Sky. The investigation led Damon and his second-in-command, Atlanta Sky. It wasn't a person on the force who hadn't heard of the duo. That case was the biggest step in both of their careers. After the case ended, Lana transferred to the prosecution office, right? Yeah, Gant, the new chief of police, arranged for that to happen. She'd never been the same since she left. Everyone knew her so. Chief Prosecutor Sky was totally different than when she was a detective. Now that's something he mentioned in him said something like that too. Tell me what happened to my sister. Sorry, Bambina, but her secret is well too guarded. I never found out. So there you have it. That's my story. Did you enjoy it, partner? It was certainly enlightening. There's one thing for sure I found out in court today. That boy Edgeworth isn't my enemy. He was the one who used falsified evidence to get a guilty verdict. But someone else was the one who gave him that evidence and planned everything. Someone is Damon Gant. Don't believe me? Well, I don't blame you. I wouldn't even be a patrolman after today. Too bad I won't be around to work with you when you become a real scientific investigator. Adios, Bambino. Who's here today? I didn't even miss start. He was probably busy looking into what exactly went down in the evidence room. That must be where the detectives are. But we proved in court today that on that day of the crime, no one was murdered in the evidence room at 5:15. Yeah, I thought we were making some headways in our case. But instead, it looks like we just ended up making Atlanta Sky look even more guilty. Hang in there, Atlanta. We have to find all this answered by tomorrow. Mr. Edgeworth isn't here? Maybe he's being questioned by an inquiry committee. He took a real beating in court today. Yeah, with Lena admitting to falsifying evidence 2 years ago. Guess he'll have to come back later. Alright, so I can't talk to you much about anything. Oh. The place is always pretty empty, but today it's deserted. That must mean everyone's busy solving crimes. Oh, if you're looking for the others, they're all in the conference room. Thanks. Wow, he actually talked to us. Was the chief prosecutor saying that she did it, and the decision was about what to do about Mr. Edgeworth, not to mention our statement to the media in tomorrow's trial. There's more chaos going on than Thanksgiving and Christmas put together. I think festive is the word usually used for those. Sir, we like to have a look around Chief Grant's office. Just use a connected hallway to the other building and take the elevator to the top floor. Really? You mean it's okay for us to go in there? I mean, you aren't really police officers or anything. Hey, you're right. You can't go in there. It's off limits. Now I see what Detective Gumshoe gets his unique charm. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's head to Chief's office. Well, we'll see. In Oregon? Wow, look at that picture. Oh, I get it. That's where it's painted. Oh, where am I? In the chief's office, silly. At least that's what it said on the door. Check out that pipe organ. That's real, isn't it? Hey, I used to take organ lessons in kindergarten. They used to call me Little Miss Bach. Thought it was genius. Never could remember where C was. It's you. Oh, it's you two. Chief Gant. He put the paper he was reading in the desk. So, righto. Have you been swimming lately? No, I haven't. I've been kind of busy lately. I can appreciate that. I've had my hands full, too, with Marshall Smith's conduct. And Lena's provocative statement. Provocative statement? Oh, you mean about the... Yeah, I remember. 2 years ago has passed since that incident. My, how time flies. See that big picture on the wall over there? Wow. That's a picture of Lena and Neil and me. That vase in the background. That's the same vase as... Wait, but is it? It is. So this is Mr. Marshall's brother, prosecution Neil. It took to commemorate our work together. Something's not right about that picture. Anyways, I like to reminisce all day, but there are matters that need my attention. I'm going to lock up here, so let's go together. Oh, but this office, it was a crime scene 2 years ago, wasn't it? That case was long since been over. There's no need to investigate it anymore. All the same, we'd still like to have a look around. Perhaps you didn't hear me. I said there's no need to investigate anymore. Now hurry and get out. I have a meeting to attend. I knew that was not gonna... Looks like we aren't welcomed. Seems that case isn't over with yet, after all. What do you mean? Chief Gant denied our request to search the crime scene. That means that there must be a reason he doesn't want us looking around in there. You mean like a clue? Could be a way we can get inside the chief's office. Hey, pal. Detective Gumshoe, aren't you supposed to be in a meeting? I'm, just taking a breather. My feet hurt. From sitting so long? Actually, from serving everyone's coffee. Sounds like Gumshoe's still out of the loop. Hey, have either of you seen Mr. Edgeworth? Mr. Edgeworth? No. Why do you ask? He's under fire from both the police department and the prosecution's office. Almost like the battle between you two in court. That sounds serious. Is it because of what my sister said? That's basically what it all boils down to. That falsified evidence 2 years ago. Mr. Edgeworth has the whole world after his blood. I want to do something real quick. Yeah, I just need a thumbnail. Yikes. But why does Mr. Edgeworth be blamed if it's not like he even forged your evidence? And this guy is the guilty party here, isn't she? Regardless, the prosecutor is responsible for the evidence that he presents in court. Not only that, but as you know, there's been a lot of rumors going around about Mr. Edgeworth. He's amazing talent as a prosecutor kept him safe for those who didn't like him. But now with this, are there really so many people who hate him? In our world, only those with talent rise to the top. Mr. Edgeworth not only has that, but he's young. There's no better recipe I know of for making enemies. Hey, Dick, keep up the good work. Yes, sir. Let's go out for lunch again sometime. My treat. Yes, sir. You gotta take me back to that joint sometime, okay, Dick? Yes, sir. Seems you don't have any problem with enemies. Yeah, well, I'm careful not to stick out. Anyways, I'm a bit worried about him. Under all this pressure, I'm afraid Mr. Edgeworth just might crack. Actually, I took a look at that file while the coffee was brewing. Seemed genuinely concerned for Edgeworth. Well, did you find anything? Only evidence Dark left behind was his final attack. His final attack, you mean? When he killed Prosecutor Marshall, he was trying to protect some girl. Me. See, Detective Gumshoe never realized I was that girl. That's when he left the most incriminating evidence of all. Well, what was it? Oh, let me see. I had it. Something to do with the murder weapon. Oh, I found it. Look, it's all written right here and there. Okay, if I were never too impressed, maybe we should show him the murder weapon. Might jog his memory. Oh, Dark. Joe Dark was 42 at the time of the crime. He was just a run-of-the-mill businessman. What made him want to go into serial killing? One day on his way home, Marky hit someone with a car, so it was an accident. An accident, yes, but it was transformed him into an animal. Killed him, man. Kid walked by then, so he killed him too. Then there was body. Jogger came up. Sorry, just started skipping everything. Jogger came upon the scene and was killed too. Was killed as well. Finally, he turned himself in. Seemed like he was a pretty careless animal. Of course, this all occurred. There wasn't a single shred of evidence, so he turned himself in. Yes, but in the middle of his questioning, he fled and murdered his final victim, Prosecutor Jake Marshall. That crime was witnessed by someone too, but luckily, Dark was arrested on the spot. It's a good thing the last witness wasn't killed. Last witness, aka Emma. What about this? Hey, is that? It has a tag attached with the label SL9 incident on it. I believe that would be the Brooklyn murder weapon you were speaking of. What are you doing with that? Ever since that case, the clothes that knife been locked away in a locker. On the day Detective Goodman was murdered, it suddenly disappeared from the locker and was found in Mr. Edgeworth's car's muffler. That's it. Now I remember what that incriminating piece of evidence was. When you showed me that knife, it all came back to me. Well, what was it? This knife, it was Joe Dark's, wasn't it? That's right. We traced it back to the store he bought it from, plus it had fingerprints on it too. But no one actually witnessed him using it to murder anyone? That's where his luck ran out. When you take a good look at the knife, well, it's broken. You don't have to take a good look to notice that. Yeah, well, anyways, take a guess where the broken tip of the knife was found. That's what did him in. Or was it? Was it in Marshall, or was it in, like, the jogger or the kid? Oh, Marshall was carrying it inside his own body. It was found deep inside the stab wound. They match Dark's Knight. You bet. Down to the last fiber. That's pretty conclusive. Well, there you have it in a nutshell. That's all I know. Can I ask you one more thing? What is it? If it's money you need, you should ask Chief Grant. It's not money, but it does concern the chief. His office is a crime scene, right? It's where prosecutor Nell Marshall was murdered. Chief's out and his office is locked, but we'd like to know if we can look around if that's okay. Well, any detective ID card can unlock the door. Wow, really? But if I let a civilian in there, I'd be charged with breach of trust. Breach of trust? Simply put, I'd be canned. Oh, sorry, pal. I don't plan on getting fired because of you. How about this ID card? Can we use it? That won't work either. The data has been deleted since he died. Oh. So in other words, Gumshoe is our only chance of getting into that office. I wonder if there's something show him something that can make him change his mind. About that jar, I think I've seen it somewhere. Or maybe it's one of those memories people have from previous lives. Something about it makes me feel uneasy. It's like I'm in the chief's office and he's yelling at me. Chief Gant, where could I have seen that before? Shit! Oh my god, I swear if I do that. Okay, I almost made us lose the case. Lose the case. What are you talking about? He's been guarding the blood stain on that empty pocket with his life. That's more than you can say about most officers nowadays. It would have saved us a lot of trouble if he hadn't guarded it so well. I have to admit, he's right though. Thanks to the Blue Badger, we were able to prove another possibility today. Possibility that another murder took place prior to 5:15 p.m. ID card record? Yeah, there's only one number left to investigate. Sorry, 4:20 p.m. The victim, Detective Goodman, must have entered the evidence room along with someone else. Someone with an executive over number. 777, that's 172 minute detective. An executive officer. Just might have a hunch. An executive officer. Detective, here's my attorney badge. You know, this every time we meet, pal. Real men know their police badge. Enough said. Wish I had a badge. Even an ID card would be nice. I don't like that. That has like a screw attached to it. The ID card belongs to the detective Dick Gumshoe. Not Gumshoe, Goodman. You can do just about anything with these cards only with a card and a security number. Scary. It's not scary because you keep dropping your card, Gumshoe. I forget my secret number a lot. I'm scared of myself. But me after all. What could be wrong with that? I think I'll stay out of the conversation. I couldn't believe Officer Marshall would do something like that. You know Officer Marshall? Of course I do. He was like a mentor to me. When I started out, he even gave me a small cactus. Really? Said, Dick, she'll listen to all your troubles. As I said, Detective Gumshoe talks to cactuses. Hard to believe he's just a patrolman now. Someone ought to trade places with him. Why? Why are you looking at me like that? Let me share a little advice for you about it. You don't have a clue. Keep your mouth shut. I'll keep that in mind. Sheesh. I've been studying up on those files. There's nothing wrong with Mr. Edgeworth's presentation. To think people are accusing him of injustice. I, for one, ain't buying it, pal. You're looking into the case for Mr. Edgeworth? Yeah, it was a pretty big deal while it was going on, you know. After all, a serial killer was on the loose. Elena was pretty clear in her confession. She forged evidence in order to prove Joe Dark guilty. No locker can be opened without a fingerprint match. Besides, there's no reason for the murderer to touch his own locker. Hey, wasn't your locker the one with the blood on it, detective? The handprint of the real murderer's glove hand without a fingerprint? Shh! If they come to arrest me, you'll defend me, won't you? If that happens, I think you'll do better pleading with Edgeworth. Well, we can make one up. Oh, a lost item report, huh? Very impressive, detective. You know what it was right off the bat. Well, I am the master of misplacement, you know. Master, that has such a cool ring to it. The way I see it, if things are meant to be lost, then they're meant to be lost. There's a higher power at work here. Wow, higher power. Maybe I should let Emma hold in the evidence. I mean, I shouldn't let her. Yeah, so you should have done that. Yeah, that's it. The King of Prosecutors award that Mr. Edgeworth got that day. Were you at the award ceremony? Of course I was. I was awarding for diligence myself. Congratulations. I was wondering why is this award shield and why is it broken? There's a reason. I'll tell you what it is later. Apparently he forgot. He forgot. Honestly, that is a kind of a good point. Maybe someone had like a grudge on Edgeworth. Quick run. Achoo! If it's any help, one time I took a nap on a beach with wet paint. Why am I not confused? Mew. Oh, that's so freaking tricked. She was the only one who ever got me to talk about what happened. 16. That's how old I am now. I wonder what happened. Maybe. Oh. Can't talk to you about what I want to do, huh? Oh. Wonder if Edgeworth is back. There he is! It looks like he's writing something down. What are you doing here? He was sure quick to throw that paper on the floor. Tough day in court, huh? I've had to live the past 2 years with rumors flying around. What's another allegation? Sure, Mr. Edgeworth, I'm reading for you. That's Edgeworth for you. Always trying to hide his real feelings. What do you want? Unlike some people I don't have all day. There's no excuse for what I've done. 2 years ago, I used false evidence to obtain a guilty verdict. That's what it all brings down to, and nothing I can erase that fact. But you didn't know, did you? I mean, that the evidence was falsified. The police department and the prosecutor's office shared a bond of trust. If that bond is broken, we stand to lose everything. The police department's error is my error, my responsibility as a prosecutor in charge. That fact remains the same, no matter what excuse I might have. Mr. Edgeworth, I take pride in my work. So tell me why. Why has it all come to this? Even Edgeworth can't keep this kind of emotion bottled up. Are you up for tomorrow's trial? First last year's trial, and now this one. It seems all you do is worry about me. To be honest, you're getting on my nerves. But Mr. Edgeworth, you can't just walk out of the trial. Tomorrow's the last day. It's too late to change prosecutions. I'll bet that's what my superiors are banking on. Never thought that case would come to haunt me like this. What do you mean? The list of evidence seems too short. Most lists run twice as long. It's only half as long as most lists. That's odd. Neil Marshall was murdered. Became prosecution for that case. I may not have been part of the investigation, but I knew what I had to do. Use the evidence I was given to prove that the suspect was guilty. That was really the only thing I had on my mind at the time. Say, we just saw a picture taken around that time. The picture seemed something strange about it. The day of the crime. Okay, I'm gonna do that. Could you tell us a bit about what happened that day? The day that Detective Goodman was murdered? You were particularly in a ceremony over at the station, right? I've never cared for ceremonies, but I had to attend that one. Because you were awarded this! Those receiving awards can't skip out on the ceremony. I finished up at the office in the morning, then drove over to the police department. You finished up at the office? Yeah, just odds and ends. Clerical stuff. I didn't plan on returning to the office that day. That is, until I was asked to take something back. That's something back? This. Oh yeah, Chief Grant asked you to hold on to that, didn't he? It was a piece of evidence that in that case that was almost half a year ago. He asked me to bring it back to the prosecution office. That's the story we heard yesterday. So you came back here to the prosecution office because the chief asked you to? That's right. This picture was hanging on the wall in Chief Grant's office. Prosecution Neil Marshall. He had just started making a name for himself. Looks like he was received the King of Prosecutors trophy. Speaking of that, there's something that bothers me. Yes? The trophy Mr. Marshall is holding. It's different than yours. Yeah, you're right. I remember now. Remember what? Well, what the official prosecutor trophy looked like until 2 years ago. There's a story behind this design. The story sounds interesting. Would you mind telling it to us? Yeah, it's simple, really. Contraction. That's what the award's based on. That word originates from an ancient Chinese tale. In Chinese, the word contraction is written with two different characters. The first means halberd, and the second means shield. Have you heard the story? Me? Oh, sure, everyone knows that. Why don't you tell it, though, for Emma's sake? Very well. Long ago in the kingdom of Chu, there was an arms merchant. One day, he presented the king with two items. The first was a halberd. He claimed sliced through and any shield or armor. The second was a shield. He claimed he could withstand any weapon. Wait a minute. Those claims contradict each other. Very perceptive. Then again, you've heard that story before, right? Anyways, you mentioned the very description of... Why is the music playing? When the king pointed this out, the merchant was left speechless. Thus, the Chinese word for contraction was born. That's funny. Oh, I see. So, they symbolize the merchant items. The ancient tale with the merchant at a loss for words, but in our nature to pursue to their conclusion, even if it results in something as ugly as it is. Wow, thanks, Mr. Edgeworth. I learned something new today. That's funny. That's so, then why were you only given a shield? Yeah, that's Chief Grant. 2 years ago, he had the halberd part of the award abolished. Excuse me. Hey, Star. Would either of you care for a quarter pound of roast beef? Miss Star, I guess she's out of lunches. Certainly are the curious sort, aren't you? Kind of like the first person who sucked a cow's nipple to discover milk. Still, I never thought you'd go digging up that case from 2 years ago. Everyone in the trial was involved in the SL9 case. Not only that, but the murder occurred on the very day of the investigation. The case was due all the transfer. This can't be attributed to mere coincidence. Are you forgetting something? You know that little sense I happened to have on to the witness scenes tonight. No matter how much of the past you dig up, I won't change what I saw. Roast beef is meant to be savored when eaten. All dates back to 2 years ago. Joe Dark, that's a name I will not soon forget. We trained him for half a year. Oh, the pressure. Still, I don't think I was ever more alive than I was then. Those days were steamier than a bowl of hot gravy. Poor old Jake Marshall, though, he must have been going through hell. You mean because of his brother's death? They were close, those two. After Neil died, something took over Jake. He became obsessed. Seeing Jake like that made her all the more desperate. Her, Sky, my sister, the best of the best were put on the SL9 case. Of course, they were led by the legendary duo, Grant and Sky. That legendary pair was the reason we were able to keep up our investigation. That's why we were so shocked over how it turned out. You mean with the forging of the evidence? Don't get me wrong, Joe Dark got what he deserved. Still, it was obvious the evidence produced in the court was being manipulated. Items our teams never found would suddenly appear while other items were kept in secret. Hold on 1 second. Hey, I worked for a few hours. Believe it or not, it's 2 a.m. I just got done. Ugh. Alright. But you don't have proof being illegal. I'm proof enough of what happened. After that case, all of us save Goodman were relieved of our duties without most even so much as an explanation. Okay, make sure there's no audio delay for me. So you just got kind of transferred to the prosecution office and wow. That's what proof I was working. There you go. That's all the proof you get. That is true. It's not as simple as it appears it to be. But luckily I got an ice cream sandwich. This might help me. With what problem exactly? Well, I'm kind of hungry. Can't go through the Ace Attorney playthrough on the... Hmm. We're good, DJ. You're a DJ as well? I think it means desk jockey. Oh, that DJ. I admire persistency, but my answer is still no. Rolling you into the chief's office, period. It'd be my neck on the line. I have to take a look. There has to be something. Wow. Oh, I can't. I think it's kind of glory details after the house. Yes. Oh! I need to go get evidence. I can't go in there. Ugh. There's something I can show them. Wait, can I have your... Nope. I'm gonna show him something. Okay, so that's nothing. What did I show you? Huh. So it's still working. Five Nights at Freddy's. Among... Gotta let us in, dude. Maybe... What did I show you? You know what I'm gonna have to go do? Okay, so I realized what I need to present to him. No, I don't need to be here. I need to go here. So I forgot to pick up something. There's a piece of paper. No, he'll sue you. Oh, hey, Edgeworth. That detective Gumshoe outside the window. Oh no, he's falling to the ground. First, let me see what the girl doing crawling around on her feet. He didn't even look. What? Letter of... If you're having trouble reading, I'll read it for you. It's letter of resignation. Or if you don't mean... I'm tired, right? As if something... But Mr. Edgeworth, none of it's your fault. You know the path I've walked. You don't need to tell me. The path I just walked down wasn't been a just one. I can't forgive myself for what I've done. And no one else should forgive me either. Uh-oh, I think he's serious. That's right, you have to do something. This letter registration. Whenever we can use it. Are we talking about it? No. He's not gonna... No! I can't have him friggin' tired. What, this crumbled up piece of paper? No way. Mr. Edgeworth can't be serious. Is he ever not serious? I can't believe they pushed him this far. Mr. Edgeworth really feels responsible. When I met him, thought he was cold as ice, but I know different now. He can be trusted, but if we wait, we betray him. Detective. That's it. I made up my mind. But, here, take my ID card. We can't do that if someone found out. They won't let you off the hook with another lost item report. Look at me. I'm no secret. I'm already out of the loop. After all, I'm friends with Edgeworth. Depending on how this case goes, I may be as well terminated. What? So at least let me do this for Mr. Edgeworth's sake. Alright. Thank you. That'll be next time on Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. Thank you all for watching. See you guys next time.